Hi everyone, welcome to Leo the Lurker. How's everybody doing? I'm doing alright. It's a half day at work for me, so I decided I would try to record a video for you guys today. Hopefully that's alright with everyone. I dug through Reddit for a few minutes and came up with a few posts. I'm not sure if I'm going to read everything I saved or just a few, but we'll see. So I have no idea how long this episode is going to be. Also, if you don't follow my other channel, Leo the Lefty, that's where I work on a piece of art while I tell you a story. Sometimes it's old-timey true crime. It might be history, folklore, legends and myths, unsolved cases, and all that. My last case was on Dyatlov Pass, and if you want to check that out over there at Leo the Lefty, I would appreciate it. And if you like what you see, then subscribe to my channel, or if you like this channel, give me a subscribe, and that way you don't miss any future upcoming episodes. I try to do one case a week on Leo the Lefty because those are longer, and I'm working on trying to get at least 2 videos a week for Leo the Lurker, and that way there's plenty of content and doing the best I can. But enough about all that. We'll jump into today's first lefty rhetoric there. Today's first story, and this is from Relationship Advice, throwaway account by user Bestie and Hubby. My 26 female best friend, 23 female, might be in love with my husband, 26 male. Where do I go from here? Throwaway because my husband stalks Reddit. Also, I know he isn't cheating on me. He's at home more often than not, and I have full access to his electronics, as does he to mine. Note: some identifying details have been changed to protect my privacy, such as names. I should hope so. Don't ever put your real name on the internet. My husband and I have been together since we were young teenagers. We got married last year and have a 6-month-old daughter together. She is the light of both of our lives, as we both came from broken homes and want a better life than we lived growing up. My best friend came a few years later. We used to live in the same neighborhood and casually began to hang out. She lives with both her parents and siblings as she is studying to get her bachelor's degree. At first, she didn't like my husband. She said that he was clingy and tried to insert himself into our friendship. WTF? She was civil to him because he was my romantic partner. For context, my husband is bipolar type 2, autism, and PTSD, and it causes him to be a little socially awkward and miss certain social cues and taboos. I love him regardless of it all. Over the last few years, we have been hanging out a lot more. She comes over for a few drinks, we go to movies, and even visit local attractions together. We all three have a good time, and my husband does try to make nights for just the two of us often too. However, last year my husband and I found out we were expecting a child together in January. I was working and fell ill because at the time I was working at a fast food place. I threw up and went to the doctor. Come to find out, I was 8.5 weeks pregnant. My life changed and I had become more busy to get myself ready for motherhood. My best friend saw me less and less, and we couldn't talk as much. My husband and I got married almost a month and a half after discovering we were going to become parents. That's when our dynamic changed. Recently I applied to school and am currently in college trying to get a law degree so I can become a paralegal and get to law school. I'm also a stay-at-home mom while doing college. I've been super busy, and one day my husband gets a text, and it's from my best friend. She asks if they can talk, as she was upset. He took the phone call with me, protesting, and a few minutes later said, "Sandra, fake name, we need to go get Carla, fake name. Her father is picking a fight with her." I get upset as we were watching a movie together, and I had just gotten the baby down for bed. We go to her house, which is about 20 minutes away, and she stays with us for a night. As I get our daughter back down to bed, Carla asks to cuddle with the two of us in our bed. I was hesitant. Yeah, I would be too. Sorry. My screen is kind of being a booty right now. Let me... I zoomed out further than I meant to because I touched it wrong. My bad. Let's see, the cuddling. I was hesitant. Yeah, as you should be. That's a weird request. I have issues with claustrophobia due to a traumatic experience as a child. My husband gave the go-ahead. We settle in for the night. Carla's dad apologized and she heads back home. Once she was gone, I blew up on my husband. What he did was not only inappropriate, but was disrespectful to my boundaries. Ever since, when she has an issue with her dad, she calls my husband and vents. One day, while my in-laws were staying with us, my mother-in-law overheard a convo with my hubby and Carla. She was concerned and asked me if I was okay with it. I said, no, not really, but every time I bring it up, he gets defensive, saying that she needs help, that she is going through a hard time, blah, blah, blah. It is important to note that my mother-in-law was cheated on in the past by her ex, my husband's father. We are also extremely close, and she sees me as a daughter. She hates cheaters with a passion, and my husband, who I will refer to as James, thank you, I'm tired of saying hubby, was using the same excuses as father did. She asked to speak to him privately and walked to our living room. They got into a heated match, and James apologized to me. He said he didn't know that it was hurting me and causing issues in our marriage. Bullshit. I asked him, how would he feel if I had asked him if another man could sleep in our bed with us? He kind of deflated and tried to say, it's different, blah, blah, blah. Oh my god. Ugh. His stepfather, Mark, fake name, spoke up and said, it is the same. You're uncomfortable with it, so is she. Quit the excuses. Thank you, Mark. James respects Mark quite a lot, actually. Mark raised him since he was 8, and his own father was in and out of the picture. Once the dust settles, my husband truly apologized to me for his actions and said that he would do better. I kissed him, and that was that. Or was it? I added that or was it, just to be dramatic. However, I wouldn't be right here if that was the end of the issue. Lately, Carla has been calling him 3 to 8 times a day. Oh, girl, hell no. Hell no. She says it's because she is bored and has no one else to talk to. Girl, go make a friend. There's social media. You can have all kinds of people talking to you. I snap. I call him out over the nonchalance about the situation and how when she calls, he answers how it's making me feel like a third wheel in my marriage, etc. His response? She's just lonely. You're letting it go to you, or letting it get to you. And that night I slept in the living room. I'm starting to suspect that she is trying to monopolize his time. She calls him for over an hour each time he calls, they talk. Oh, okay, I think she meant to say she calls, they talk. She complains about her life, etc. Almost like she is his girlfriend or something. I am starting to find this relationship troubling. It's getting to the point that it's affecting my marriage. Where do I go from here? Any advice would be appreciated. Edit. Thanks everyone for the feedback. I'm going to have a talk with him, with his mom involved. He won't listen to me if I don't. I'm tired of fighting him over this. I should have an update with the resolution in a couple of days, and I'm going to read everyone's responses more thoroughly. Thanks for the advice. Okay, before we get into the comments, this is unacceptable. Like, if your partner is telling you that you are in a relationship that's making them uncomfortable, you need to at least hear them out and not shrug it off as they're lonely. Okay, well, lonely people will move into your life and break up your marriage. And if that's what he wants, okay. And also, OP, why won't he listen to you and you have to have his mom there? I mean, I'm glad she's on your side and I'm glad that she's backing you up, but you shouldn't need that. Just you alone and your feelings in this situation alone should be enough. This is unacceptable. And reiterate to him, what if this was your best friend and a guy and we talked for hours and hours and hours? And yes, it is exactly the same. It is not different, and don't try to pull that double standard bullshit with me. Put your foot down, tell her too, not just him, but tell her to back off. I didn't see anywhere in here that you have expressed to her how uncomfortable this makes you. So you need to tell her what's going on. I don't know if you're just trying to save face in your relationship with her, but it's ruining your marriage. So, tell her. And then if neither one of them will hear you out, then you can go from there and decide what needs to happen next. I have no idea what that path looks like for you, if that's counseling, if it is getting the parents involved, if it is separation or whatever, but this is completely unacceptable. And the fact that, it's only stepped up and gotten worse, this is an emotional affair happening right before your eyes, but it will become a physical affair soon. Especially if you get pregnant again and you're distracted with the second pregnancy, that's when she's going to move in. And before you end that second pregnancy, y'all will be separated. You'll be a mother of a newborn and a toddler, and he will be shacked up with her. So, you need to look at it from the standpoint that this is a danger to your marriage, and you need to hold both parties accountable, your husband and your best friend, because they're both involved in this very slippery slope here. And who's to say it hasn't already gone a certain way? Just because you have access to his electronics, she'll know that, and so they won't talk about it that way, or they'll delete messages or whatever. So just beware. Let's jump down to the comments. Aggravating Owl 8974 says, "You've set your boundaries and he continues to cross them. Is this how you want your marriage to be? She won't stop as long as your husband responds to her every time." Agreed. She's not going to stop. But you could at least talk to her, because it doesn't sound like you've said anything to her so far. You're just talking to your husband. And they both owe you, to hear you out on your feelings, And let's see, next comment. She says, to that first comment, she says, "You're right, I have issues standing up for myself." Well, this is the time that you need to, really, really invest in your backbone, respect yourself enough to stand up for yourself. Otherwise, they're both going to walk all over you. You're standing up for yourself. Your husband is not respecting you. You need to be open with your husband and tell him that his behavior is leading to the end of his relationship. If he tries the "she's lonely and you're just jealous," you answer that she's lonely because she prefers to seek the attention of her husband's best friend, and that you're of her best friend's husband. Yeah, they wrote that backwards. And you're jealous because he's given more importance to another woman's comfort over yours, his wife and mother of his children. He being autistic is not an excuse here, and we have difficulty with social clues, not with knowing what is right and wrong. Agreed. That is very well said. Own Writing 3687 says, "If he was a true friend, he would cut her off with zero contact. She needs to develop her own support network, and she won't do that as long as he tolerates her. She's using you both. Every time you give a minute, then she asks for more. There is no middle ground. Go zero contact." And Sweet Tooth says, "Stand up for yourself and your baby. Your baby will soon have an absent father. Keep your mother-in-law in the loop. Get couples counseling. Carla needs to be cut out of your lives, or else I don't see how this 3-person marriage will work out. He's disrespecting you to your face." I mean, everybody keeps talking about that. And yes, obviously the husband needs to listen to his wife and step up and do the right thing, but I don't really see anybody in the comments telling her to talk to the best friend. But damn, talk to Carla, tell her what's going on and that you know what she's doing. Don't come at her like, "Hey girl, I just want to say that please stop talking to my husband." No, be forthright, out with it. Just tell her, look bitch, I know what you were doing and you need to stop. This is over, this ends now, and respect boundaries, get back, go find your own partner and leave mine alone. Tell her straight up. Alright, that's enough of that one. Let's go to this next post. Okay, this is off of Two Hot Takes. They actually have a YouTube channel like I do where they read these stories out and talk about them. I love um, to watch them. They're great. So I'm not sure what they linked this sub from. Probably relationship advice. And but we'll go ahead and read it out. Username Straight Corner 3555. Using a throwaway because I just need advice. My wife, 25 female, and I, 34 male, have been married for 4 years, and up until a year and a half ago, things were fantastic. Our marriage began to deteriorate after there was a significant drop in sex between us. Not intimacy, just the actual sex part of the relationship. We would still cuddle and have deep, intimate moments talking and just being around each other, but she kept rejecting my attempts at taking things further past kissing. Now we have had no problem communicating, so I made sure to address it early, and we talked and made adjustments. We both made sure to stay in shape. We tried being more adventurous. We went to couples therapy and even tested both of our hormone levels. Everything was normal. Each solution, in quotes, would work for a little while, and then we'd be back to having sex maybe once a month. I asked her several times if she was no longer attracted to me, which she denied every time. I asked her if I was falling short in the relationship in any other way, to which she said no. Well, about a month ago, she gets back from her therapy session and tells me that she believes that she's asexual, and that's the reason for her libido being non-existent as of late. I was definitely confused because we had such a great sex life for a while in the beginning of our relationship, but her telling me that now she's asexual was heartbreaking because everything else was great. Sorry, I lost my place. Obviously, I'm not going to force her to have sex, so we had a long conversation about our relationship, and I came to the conclusion that we should get a divorce. I say I because she immediately rejected the idea and said we would figure something out and wouldn't talk to me about it anymore. Oh, girl, no, you can't just do that. I didn't know what to say, so I dropped it. Well, 3 weeks go by without sex, and I decided that I have to do this for my own mental well-being, so I filed for divorce and had her served with the papers. Last week, when I got home from work, she was going about the day like nothing was wrong. I asked her if she signed the papers, and she flat out said, "We are not getting a divorce," and changed the subject and acted like things were normal. Obviously, I thought this was crazy, so I stopped her and I said I couldn't be in a marriage devoid of sex, and I mentioned that I was being incredibly fair with our divorce. She can keep the house that we bought and paid for with cash. She paid 1/3, I paid 2/3. I'd take all of the debt, which isn't much. We'd split our savings and investments in half, and she can keep 2 of our 3 paid off cars. I only wanted to keep my sports car. Thankfully, we don't have kids. I love her and wanted her to be comfortable, and I have no problem starting over since I make a good income, but she won't budge or talk about the divorce. This brings us to 2 days ago. I get home and go to our bedroom and find my wife's friend, 27 female, in our bed naked. Oh, come on. I immediately shut the door, said sorry, and went looking for my wife. I found her in the kitchen and asked her what her friend was doing here, and she said that she was here for me. Oh, hell no. I put 2 and 2 together and said that I'm not having sex with other women in place of the woman I chose to marry. She was adamant on saying that I could sleep with her whenever I wanted and that her friend agreed to it. Oh, did you? Did you two agree for him without even consulting him first? That's just wrong. I couldn't believe things would get this far, so I went back to our bedroom and asked her friend to leave. I packed a bag and I've been staying in a hotel nearby since that night. My wife, her mother, and her sister keeps calling me, but I'm just not interested in hearing what they have to say. This feels like a trick. I just want this whole thing to be over. Does anyone have advice? Is this some kind of ploy for alimony? We do have a prenup. Should I just contact my lawyer and try to force the divorce? I'm really uncomfortable in this entire situation. Yup, call your lawyer immediately, right now. Tell them what's going on. Since you're letting her have the house anyway, move out now. Um, go get a place, move in with somebody else. I mean, whatever you got to do to separate her from you from her, because this situation is getting gross and out of control. Like, not only is she telling you something major in the marriage has shifted, which is y'all's sex life, and it's fine for her to do that, and it's also fine for it to be a deal breaker for you, and you're doing the right thing. You want to end the relationship before you try to get into another one. Her just deciding that this friend of hers is the one that you're gonna replace her with, that takes away your agency. It's really gross. And for her to just assume that she can throw any warm body in the bed and you'll be fine with it is really insulting and diminishing to you. And I wouldn't, definitely still try to keep things as civil as you can during the divorce, but don't go back home. If you're gonna let her have the house, just pack up your crap and go, dude. You don't need this being flung at you every time you walk in the door. And, when she's crying and begging and asking why that's not good enough, just tell her, like, it's really insulting that you decided that's what was good enough for me. You have no right to decide what is good enough for me. I decide that. And what I've decided is this divorce is happening and I'm out of here, and, how dare you, honestly, try to just throw some random person in my bed and say I should be happy with that. That's really insulting and gross, and good on you for just packing and leaving, because that's really upsetting and insulting and just all around, like, crazy town. Crazy town. Seriously, like, she's just decided that this is who you're going to sleep with. I mean, if y'all are going to have some sort of, non-monogamous marriage, you should get to decide who your sexual partner is, if that's what y'all want and you're comfortable with it. But it seems like you want a monogamous relationship with sex with that person and that person only, which is perfectly valid. But for her to just decide, and why did she pick her? Why did she pick this woman? What about her makes your wife okay with you sleeping with her? That's weird too. I would ask her, if you even care, if you're inclined, why her? Is it because she's the only one willing to go along with this arrangement? Is it because you feel some security in this woman that, like, we won't have developed feelings and I'll divorce you anyway for her? I mean, all kinds of things could blow up in her face like that. It's definitely a possibility at all times. So, that's interesting and weird, and call your lawyer, because it feels like a trap. Even if it's not a trap, even if it's perfectly acceptable to her and this is what she wants, if it's not what you want, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It is your body that she's volunteering to this other person. Not cool. Let's go down into the comments. Flaky2 1872. You did right, bro. Let your attorney handle this. Do not have sex with anyone until your attorney says you're in the clear. Straight Corner, OP says, that's my only course of action right now. I'm going to look for an apartment tomorrow. Good job. Good. Don't go back there. Wax My Butt, awesome username, says, also, why are you offering her so much? Split the marital property equitably and move on. If you have the slightest inclination that she's trying to set you up, then don't just roll over and let her have everything, because that won't be enough for her and her attorney. I mean, I agree with that, like, but if he just wants to be done with all this, I can understand that. And some people just don't want to drag out the divorce for years in court, and I do not blame them. The sooner he gets this over with, the sooner he can move on with his life, put it behind him, find his true partner who he's meant to be with, and start the life he's been wanting to start, And when it comes down to it, between life, love, and possessions. Life and love matter far more than possessions, you know? And if he makes a decent living, he can recoup that loss in not so long. And, you know, he can also walk away guilt-free, knowing he didn't leave her destitute, he didn't leave her in debt, he just left, and for good reason, and he wasn't malicious in it. So, you know, I support however he wants the division of assets to be in the divorce. That's totally on him, and as long as he's happy, I'm happy. Let's see here. Magically Delicious says, and since she's resisting, I take back some of the negotiation assets. Take back a car if she doesn't sign by X date. Then, if that date passes, let her know that the next asset is the house, etc. You know, honestly, like, that's a good idea. If you want, I mean, she's leveraging your whole life against you, your sex life against you, her marriage, your marriage, the marriage. So don't be afraid to leverage assets to get her to just sign the divorce papers. Cal Wickawoo, sorry, says, yes, get the divorce first, then have sex with your wife's friend. And he says, OP says, I'm not doing that, LOL. Scrolling. So yeah, everybody in the comments seems to be like, you know, just go ahead and leave, get your own place, blah blah blah. A lot of negotiating with assets and everything like that. So yeah, pretty messed up post OP, but I hope to get an update. If I see an update, I will put it in my next video, because I would like to see how this plays out. Hopefully in OP's favor. Okay, our next one is from... Sorry, sometimes my tablet like resets the font size and everything when I go to a new case. Relationship advice by user Bell Peppa. I, 25 female, am becoming more aware of what my husband, 25 male, cannot do for me in the future, and how do I move forward? Uh-oh. Let's hear her out, but we'll see. I, 25 female, have been married to my husband, 25 male, for 2 years. Okay, well, y'all got married too young. We met back in November of 2021. Oh my god. So you didn't know each other that long. Wow. We hit it off instantly. The time together was never-ending fun, our sex life was great, and I finally found someone I clicked with and didn't have to take care of him because he held his own. Shortly after getting married, the sex we were having went from twice a week to once a month. Our conversations were single-sided conversations, and the company felt like a friendship. Now in the future, after multiple conversations about it, me writing letters, one of our friends who is a therapist stepping in, having conversations with my therapist about how I can do better and be a better partner, and how to approach these hard conversations, I truly feel like I have done everything. I have asked him to join me in therapy, and it is a sensitive subject for him and always gets cut short or promised but never followed through. I feel like I am putting in the work to better myself mentally for me, us, our future kids. I just feel stuck. I don't feel appreciated, and to be honest, I am so checked out of this marriage, I'm not sure how I can reframe my thinking to continue on. So I guess my question is, what more can I do to save this marriage? How do I know when enough is enough? Girl, it already is. Yeah, it sounds like he's unreceptive, but there's a little bit more here. We'll keep reading. Just to be clear and sum it up, I just don't think we are on the same page anymore. Edit. Thank you everyone for your advice and comments. A few things to clear up. My husband and I truly love each other, and marriage is hard. Not being seen and heard is harder, and I have dealt with this in my family for a while. I also want to clarify that I am in therapy and have discussed what I did with professional. Lastly, I am literally only human. I am going to make mistakes, and those mistakes are probably not ones that you would make, but it happened, and now I'm trying to solve the problem. Once I talk with my husband, I will update this post, but the conversation is happening this weekend. Is our anniversary, so hopefully not then, but soon. Wow, you're the run-on sentences. Okay, I mean, I do think this is a case of you guys met, and oh gosh, you've been married for 2 years. It's 2024. You met in 2021, so it seems like y'all knew each other not long, maybe a year before you got married. And the honeymoon phase is over, and now y'all are just in regular married life. If he's unreceptive to counseling, to changing things, to any of that, then honey, this is your marriage. This is what it's going to be. I was with someone for 11 years. I've never been married. I didn't want to do the whole wedding, legal, government stuff. But we were together for 11 years, having, a couple kids together. He's a great guy. I mean, we're separated now. We get along very well. We co-parent well. He's a fantastic guy, but it just didn't work. And that is okay. We both, in the end, wanted different things. It sounds like y'all got married and met and got married very, very fast. Very, very fast. And that flame burned super hot, but not for super long. And I think this is what the rest of your marriage looks like if he's unreceptive to making any changes on his side. Because it seems like you're putting in all the work right now. You're the one trying to solve things. And when you hand him maybe not necessarily a solution, but an idea to try as a solution, he shoots it down. So he's not interested in trying. He's happy with the status quo, the way it is. And so you need to decide if you can adjust to that and be happy too, or if that's a deal breaker. Because, honey, if he's not even attempting right now, and y'all have only been married 2 years, and you've only known each other for what seems to be like around 3 years, I mean, this is it. This is your marriage. And there's the sunk cost fallacy where you think, oh, I've already put 3 years into this, I need to try harder and put more time into it. But if this is how it is off the bat, then maybe you should consider, I've already given this marriage 2 years, this relationship 3 years, and it tanked so fast, and he is so unwilling to address it. Do I want to sink any more time into this? Because so far you're the one giving all the effort and he's doing nothing. Because he's perfectly content. When people don't want to change the way things are, it means they're fine with what's happening and they don't want to change it. They don't want to put any effort in. That's my 2 cents. Let's jump down to the comments. The first comment is, how long did y'all date before marriage? I don't see OP responding. Well, I'm trying to click on the replies, but if she responded, maybe she deleted it or it got deleted by the mods. I don't know. I still don't really understand how the mods even work, so I just hear them talking about the mods, and I know they're almighty, all-powerful, and can delete and repost with, like, the finger of God, so whatever. Next comment is, this is what happens when you marry someone you hardly know, and now you're starting to realize that you're not actually compatible. Yep. But that's basically it. I mean, y'all thought you were perfect for each other, but you didn't give it long to figure it out. Unpopular opinion. I have told my kids, if they want to get married, that's fine. But I highly recommend living with someone for a minimum of a year before marriage. I do not think it is a sin to live with someone before marriage. I highly recommend it. Within a year, you will see ups and downs, ebbs and flows, habits, what can you tolerate, what can you not tolerate, and then from there you can assess where you want the relationship to go. But I've told both of my children, when they get older and get into a long-term relationship, don't jump into marriage before you've lived with them. Live with them for at least a year, because a year is going to give you more time. You know, if there's a mask, it's hard to keep that up 24/7 for a year. I mean, some people can do it, don't get me wrong. People out there can do it, they have done it, they are doing it right now. But a year gives you a good amount of time to see what somebody's consistently like on a day-to-day basis, and their, you know, what it's like living with them. So I highly recommend that. Jana Bananas 67 says to the prior comment that this is what happens when you marry someone you hardly know. Agreed. The first few months, even a year, is often so thrilling, but then you settle into life and the fun every night dwindles. This is why you date for 12 to 18 months, see each other through some highs and lows, and meet the family, etc. See, all of OP's comments are hidden and I cannot see them. Okay, here's one from OP. I agree. I have a I told you so family, and this comment alone makes me want to stick it out because of how horrible my family is. Girl, don't. Oh, no, 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 no. Don't ever stay in a relationship to spite anyone, to prove anything to anyone. Oh my God, you're only hurting yourself. If your family is, you know, being bullies or butt heads about it, tell them to stuff it, tell them to kick rocks, whatever. Some families are really, you know, chill about that, and some can be really annoying and up your ass. But do not stay in a relationship to prove anything to your dumb family, okay? Don't worry about that. They aren't the ones that have to be in a loveless marriage, okay? And if they truly love you, they will want you to be happy and not stay in a loveless, dwindling, dead bedroom marriage either. Okay? Okay. Please, girl, please take some of the advice on here. And, you know, you sit him down, talk to him, and be like, hey, you know, if this isn't working for you, we could get a divorce. And don't scare him or threaten him or, you know, ultimatum him. Just say, hey, if this isn't working for you, we can get a divorce if you want, and just see his reaction. If he's like, oh God, please no, or if he's like, yeah, you know, that's kind of the way I'm leaning, at least you'll know how he feels and y'all can go from there. But, you know, some people, they don't want a divorce, but they still want to stay in an unhappy marriage because they're not necessarily unhappy, or they are and they like being unhappy. I don't know, but keep this between you and him, not between you and your family. You know, talk to your therapist if he won't go to therapy with you, whatever. But don't let him diminish you. Alright, I mean, pretty much all the comments are telling her to leave him and everything. Okay, the next story. Hopefully my tablet won't do the thing it's been doing whenever I click on a new story. Trying to figure out how this username is pronounced. It's from Am I Wrong? And it's I Henley Hine in WCSA. I have no idea if I said that right or if that's how the combination of letters goes, but we're going to read it anyway. Am I wrong for not letting my husband's daughter be in contact with our children? My 32 female husband, 56 male, oh lordy, oh goodness. My husband's daughter, 29 female, so she's 3 years younger than you. This is already, woo, okay. Was an only child until she was 19 years old. Yeah, which was like 5 minutes ago. And of course, from the first moment, she hated her sister. When the rest of our children, 10, 7, 5, 2, and 1 month, oh Lord, 5 kids, were born, she hated them too, and although she could talk to them and spend time together, she was never a loving sister to them. I mean, honestly, like, she's so much older than them that she just being nice or like talking to them is civil. You can't expect a close bond there. And okay, before we dive into the rest of this, I'm not so much making a prediction, but if your husband and you were having an affair and her mom, his first wife, found out, and then your husband left her and married you and had 5 kids with you, that's why whatever is happening is happening. I'm not sure if that's what happened. I have no idea. I'm going to keep reading. We'll see. Sometimes they'll allude to things. Usually, if it's an affair, they'll just allude. If it's something like he was a widow or divorced or something like that, they'll outright and say it. So we'll jump in. I'm just, making a prediction because this age gap is already a big meh for me. The point is that a few months ago, she and I had a horrible fight, and long story short, I left my own house with my children because we were scared of her. She had temporarily moved in with us after getting divorced. And a few days later, she ended up attacking my husband physically, and he had to call her psychiatrist, and her mother had to get involved to help her in treatment with the new medicine. Okay, so daughter's mother is alive. Well, when I returned home, I found out that she had crossed out my face from all the family photos that my husband had in his office and in our living room. In some, she wrote a slur that starts with a W and ends with an or on my face, and in others, she just crossed it out with a pen. And she had even thrown away the drawings that my husband keeps of all of our children. So I gave my husband an ultimatum and told him that I never want her in the house or near me or the children again, and fortunately her psychiatrist agreed because according to her, his daughter doesn't have a healthy bond with him and that she has still not gotten over her parents' divorce, even though almost 20 years have passed since they divorced. Okay, see, this is what I'm talking about whenever there's a divorce or they're widowed and it's not because of an affair with this specific person anyway, they're usually forthright for it. She's forthright. They've been divorced for almost 20 years. That means the daughter was 9 when they got divorced. So yeah, there's nearly a decade, it seems like, that passed between the divorce and this current marriage. Okay, age gap is still ugh for me, but at least there was no affair. More than 3 months have passed since all that happened, and she has started her new treatment with new medicines and has not had contact with her father since then. And according to her therapist and her psychiatrist, it is working, and it would be good for her to at least see him and the children once a month to see if she's progressing. But I don't care if she progresses or not. I don't want her around my children anymore. Fair enough. She never loved them, and she has shown that she is violent, so I don't want to risk her hurting them. You know what? That's fair. Children shouldn't be used as guinea pigs. Oh, let's test it out. Make sure as long as she doesn't murder any of them, it's all good. So I told my husband that he can meet her at a cafe or he can go to his ex-wife's house, which is where his daughter lives. But I don't want her here. I've given her multiple chances over the years, but she never had any intention of getting along with me or her siblings. So I don't see the point in wanting to play happy family now. Fair enough. And before you say she hates me for being involved with her dad, no, she doesn't. Because I used to work cleaning her grandmother and her father's house, and she always made my life miserable. She's the typical rich girl who sees poor people as inferior, and of course she hated me because my mother-in-law treated me like her daughter even before I got involved with her son. And for my husband's daughter, that was unacceptable because I was not on her level. And level is in quotes. When I started dating her dad, he tried many times to get her to stop being rude, but she didn't care. And I didn't want their relationship to be damaged because of me, so I put up with all her shit for more than 13 years in silence, but not anymore. I'm not going to let my children be used to find out if she's sane or not. I think they deserve much better than that. I agree, because even if she doesn't physically harm them, if she does some sort of freak out in front of them and traumatizes them, that's totally not cool. My mother-in-law thinks exactly like me, but my husband thinks that maybe this time the medicines worked and everything could be different. But like I said, I'm not interested and I don't want my children to be in contact with her. Am I wrong for that? No, no. I mean, I guess I feel a little bit better about this whole thing knowing that there wasn't an affair and that's not the reason for these outbursts and her anger. Um, if it is because you started out as, you know, a hired helper in the home and she just doesn't respect you on that level, then that's really messed up. But I'm also sure that the age gap to her father and the closeness to her age is also an issue for her. Now, that doesn't explain why she didn't like you before you started dating her father, other than the classist stuff, which seems to be partial motivation, but I'm sure between that and your age, that's the two things that are compounding, and she has a problem with both of them, I would say. Um, so, yeah, but I totally don't think you're wrong for not wanting your kids to be the experiments in this. That's not fair to them, and you know, she's made it very clear that she doesn't like you and by proxy doesn't like those kids. Tell your husband, you know, if you want to maintain a relationship with her, fine, I understand. She's your daughter. That's totally cool with me, but not me and not mine. Not mine until they're 18. You know, once your kids are 18 and bigger and able to protect themselves and make that decision for themselves, if she still wants a relationship by then, okay. But I mean, at this point, it doesn't sound like she wants a relationship with them either. I don't even know if she wants a relationship with her dad. You know, like the therapists and the dad are doing all the talking here. She may not want any of that, which is her prerogative. Live Western 1389 says, maybe her medicines will work this time, but your husband has no right to ask you and your children to be the test subjects to find that out. You are 100% not wrong in this. Totally agreed. Indy 50 says, not to mention that even if the meds are working, she might decide to not take them at any point, like right before a visit with dad and the kids. Lots of people go off their meds for various reasons. True, like, even if they're working to the best of their abilities, so many people are like, oh, well, I feel great now, so I don't need these anymore, and then they snap. So that's very dangerous, especially if she's already gotten violent physically with her father. There's no guarantee she won't do that to you or one of the children. Plus, if she's always hated OP, even on meds, which would make her be at her normal thoughts and actions, she still wouldn't like OP or her kids. I agree. Just medicine, user Zykel says, just medicine isn't going to fix everything magically. That's not how it works. It takes time, therapy, support, as well as the surrounding environment to help. And sometimes people just won't/don't want to get better. I feel this is up to OP and her children if they want to see her again. The dad doesn't get a say, as he could very easily, unintentionally, put the younger children at risk for letting her around them. Yeah, I don't see anybody here thinking that OP is wrong for her concerns, and I also don't. Yeah. Okay, well, that's me. Not a comfortable situation. Okay. Alright, we'll do one last one, and I'm going to call it on this video. It's getting pretty long. This is from the Am I the Asshole subreddit, Poppy Carob, user Poppy Carob. Am I the asshole for feeling insulted that my fiance canceled our wedding due to her son? So I, 41 male, first met my fiance, Reet, 40 female, when we were in high school, and we really hit it off all the way back then and started dating. The thing is, her family is Indian, and they did not approve of a guy like me to the point where when she was 16, they took her to India to get married. She got married to a guy about 10 years older who was in the army there and was only 17 when she had her son, Kavan. Now, when she was 21, she came back with our family, and her husband wasn't controlling or anything. He let her go be with all her friends. He even let us still be friends, had her go get her GED, go to university, and get a job. By all accounts, he did love her and treated her well, even if the way they got married wasn't right, she just never loved him, even if she did appreciate him. And I want to be very clear about this. She never cheated on him with me. I was dating other people, and she wasn't the type of person who would do that. But the truth is that I never got over her, and even though it was just a teenage love. So 3 years ago, her husband passed, and 2 years ago, we started dating, and nobody could say anything this time. I proposed a year ago to get married, August this year. Her son joined the Army after high school to honor his dad with his service, and he was recently discharged. He was stationed overseas, and he didn't see battle or anything, obviously, but he's come back with psych issues and PTSD because he saw some shit go down where he was. Kavan's fiance brought it up with Reet how bad he's been, and this Saturday we had a date scheduled, but she canceled because of Kavan. Apparently, they got into a huge argument, and according to her, it made her realize how bad his health is and that she only wants to focus on him. This means our wedding is off and our relationship is on pause, and that got us into an argument because I still want to be there for her. I still want to have a future with her, and when I pointed this out, she just said something like, "My son is my life, not you or any future with you." Ouch. And I guess I'm just here wondering, was I the asshole to have brought up the argument at such a point that she said that to me? Woo! Okay, before I jump into the comments, that's cold-hearted. I mean, I can understand needing to put things on pause. And I can even understand saying, hey, my kid comes first, because absolutely, I would do the same thing. But the way she worded that was very callous, and you know, she's definitely going through a lot right now and under a lot of stress, so that may have been cause for like the snappy way she reacted. And you know, hopefully you can give her a little bit of time, and they can, you know, she can help her son, and y'all can work through this and, you know, get the relationship back on track. But I don't think you're wrong for asking, what does this mean for us? It's like any big decision in a relationship, a move, a job offer, a death in the family, taking care of parents, wanting children, not wanting children. These are all huge things that matter in every relationship, and you're allowed to ask. I mean, you may not get the answer you want, but you're allowed to ask, and she should respect that at least that much, that she, you know, you are entitled to some answers on what does this mean for us. Like, okay, and I understand it's disappointing to hear that everything is on hold so she can tend to her son. I get that. I even get being a little upset by that, but yeah, like, you deserve answers. Maybe like a timeline. Hey, you know, is this going to be a month, a week, a year? How long is this going to be? Like, and of course it's mental health, so you don't know. You don't know, but giving you some kind of time frame, like, hey, let me take care of my son for 6 months, and then after that we can reassess. That's reasonable. You know, it still, again, may not be the answer you want, but at least it's something. It gives you an end date, something to look to next. So, I totally understand your frustration here. Let's jump down. I'm scrolling to the comments. Top comment by PotPot12. It's tough, but Reed's priority is understandably her son's well-being right now. It's important to communicate your feelings to her and find a balance that respects both your relationship and her son's needs. I mean, that's a great response. I agree with that totally. Like, there is a middle ground here. There's room for a middle ground here. You know, as long as she gives you answers and you give her space, this can still work. I mean, it doesn't need to be the end of everything. It can still work. But again, y'all need to find a way to communicate about it that doesn't involve hurt feelings or demands, ultimatums, anything like that, because that's just going to breed resentment. And I promise you, dude, if you push her into a corner, she is going to choose her son every time, as she should. If you are a parent, your kid has got to come before your spouse. And he needs her right now. And y'all can postpone weddings and things like that. And I'm sorry if you lose money, that sucks and all. But, you know, for now, this is fresh, it's new, give her time. If 5 years from now she's still keeping you strung along, oh, we'll get married after this and this, then you can reassess and be like, do I want to keep doing this? But, you know, give her a few months. This isn't gonna, he's not gonna be okay overnight. But if you give her the space to take care of him and less stress on her end, where she doesn't have to worry about the both of you, hopefully she can get it resolved faster, help him faster, and also she'll be very grateful to you for giving her the space and time she needed to take care of her son, and she'll see that for the act of love it is. Because yeah, sometimes backing off and giving someone space is the best act of love you can show them. And it shows that you respect her and everything, and her son. Because if you resent her son because of it, that's going to kill the relationship as well. So try to respect her, her needs, her space, and her son, and I think you guys will be okay. Judging a-holes. Info, I feel like something is missing here. Did you argue with her and say you didn't want to postpone the wedding? I'm just trying to figure out how I still want to be there for you would have turned into her saying, my son is my life, not you or any future with you. I do not see... Come on. OP says, yes, I said that there was no reason to postpone us getting married, and I pointed out that the longer we wait, then there's a chance some things like children might not happen because we are in our 40s now, and if we wait, she's obviously going to want to focus on her son's marriage and grandchildren. Most of the argument revolved around those points. Okay. Alright, OP. You stepped in it. I was okay until that. I don't know if y'all have talked about this already, but maybe she doesn't want any more children, and maybe she does. But the children that already exist take precedent over hypothetical children, okay? That's how it works. And when you point out, I pointed out, there's no need to postpone, because what if this, and this for me? I hate it when people are like, oh, I pointed out. No, you said smugly. That's what I pointed out is a nice way of translating to, I threw it back in her face like a smug D-bag. Ugh, okay, I'm losing sympathy for you, OP. Let's see if you can redeem yourself. I'm not seeing many more responses. You're leaving out a big piece of info by not saying that you expect her to have children. There's a difference between wanting to marry her to support her while she focuses on her son and wanting to make huge life changes like having a kid. And that was by user Killing Me Quickly. Lost Rice 945 says, my dude, why would she want to have a child while in her 40s with her adult son struggling so hard? Why would she ever want to do that? Why do you not realize that? I'm looking to see if OP responds to any of these. I'm not seeing how... Okay. Let's see here. Sorsa B says, her husband passed just 2 years ago and her child is struggling mentally. She does have a lot going on right now. Perhaps planning a wedding, isn't it an Indian wedding, at this time is too much for her. Can you give her space until she feels more in control of her life? And OP says, is it an Indian wedding? Yes, I'm not religious, and even if I was, she would never have a Christian marriage. And then in answer to can you give her space, he says yes. I mean, yeah, everybody's basically telling him to back off for a minute, and I agree, like, give her space. No wonder she snapped at you, because you were basically like, well, you know, if you take care of your son, you're not going to be able to pop out my babies anytime soon. Meh. I mean, and perhaps you guys have had the talk about having kids, and yes, you're like, oh, we got to get married so we can start having them now. But your expectations, dude, like her already existing child takes precedent over y'all's hypothetical, aren't even here yet, aren't even conceived yet children, dude. So you need to calm your shit down. Seriously, you're pissing me off. I was on your side until you started bringing in the baby maker aspect of it. Oh my god, well, you're hitting 40. You're getting too old. Oh my goodness. Oh, what a D-bag. Just back up and give her some space. Let's see. On Ross Rebus, I don't know if that's how that's pronounced. It's clear to me that you are second fiddle to her son, not equal, not sure if you ever will be equal. And OP says, I would never expect to be, and I wouldn't want to be, with her if she were to treat me better than her son. Then why are you mad? Why are you mad? Oh. You're contradicting yourself. Okay. Well, I mean, it's basically in the comments, everyone's telling him you're the a-hole and you need to, you know, stop being a crybaby and give your wife some space to deal with this extremely important issue between her and her son right now. And I agree. Like, dude, just chill out. Chill them out. Alright, well, I think that's going to be it. My battery on my camera is getting a little low, so it's time to call it quits for the day so I can recharge it and get this video uploaded. Thanks for joining me today. I'll keep an eye out on those posts for updates for my next episode, and if not, I'll find different stories and it'll be awesome. Hopefully you liked what you saw in my little you know, background here today. I got a new little lamp and all of that, and got a new little voodoo doll. Isn't he cute? He's a stress ball. And I should have been for a couple of these posts today. But anyway, so hit that subscribe if you liked it. Leave any responses to the stories or to my content to me down in the comments. I'll definitely respond as I see them, as I can. And I hope to see you guys soon in the next couple of days. Have a good one. Bye.